Hello, guys and girls, and welcome to episode 27 of the VR Inside podcast. This is a weekly VR, AR, and MR talk show that is live streamed every Saturday on Nathie's YouTube channel. You can tune into the show live at 4 p.m. in Europe, 3 p.m. in the UK, and 9 a.m. in Central US. If you missed the podcast, you can catch up with the whole show where I upload it on my own YouTube channel, Virtual Reality Oasis. Or alternatively, check out the audio-only version, which is going to be available on Google Play Music, iTunes, and on SoundCloud. If you've got any questions, comments, or feedback during the show, please chuck them in the chat, and we'll try to answer as many questions as we can. So, not like this group needs any introduction, but if you're new to the show, let me introduce you to the team. First up, we have the winner of the Immersive Content Creator YouTube Award. It is, of course, our Nathie. How you doing, dude? Back on track?
I did it. This is my first award ever. Thank you so much. You know, I want to thank my team, my colleagues here on the VR Inside podcast, my family, my friends, my mom. You know, so also all the VR people out there. So yeah, I'm not very good at like doing a speech. You know, like I won it in a way where I wasn't there. I think my speech would have been like very bad, but who knows? Who knows? You could write one for me, Mike. I mean, you got always the best lines, you know?
Yeah, I could write you a cool one. Cool one. But yeah, nice. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
So this next guy, this week, he offered to make a rowdy girl, Mrs. Rowdy, by proposing to her in VR. And it is, of course, the RowdyGuy. Congratulations to you as well, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was a lot of work to get this properly done, but it worked out actually kind of fine, and she was really happy with it, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Well, we're definitely going to be talking about this a little bit more later on, because I want to hear the whole story. So this guy, some say that he is the Father Jack of VR because his favourite word is feck, and that is, of course, Zimtalk5. How you doing, dude?
You couldn't have pegged it any better, Mike. I'm doing just great. A little bit frustrated at Subnautica, but other than that, good.
Ooh, I want to hear more about that as well, very shortly.
I think I know what happened.
I'm intrigued. So, last but by no means least, myself, Mike from Virtual Reality Oasis, the host of the show, the one with the beard. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about some guy on the internet proposes to his girlfriend in VR. I wonder who that could be. The Oculus runtime errors. My God, what happened? Valve is teasing upcoming games and hardware. That cheeky little Gabe Newell. A creepy steampunk-looking game called Torn, and not one, but 8 Ready Player One games. Oh my God, we are overloaded with Ready Player One stuff. So it's going to be an exciting show for you guys. But let's just talk about what we've been up to this week. And Rowdy, you can't talk about proposing to your girlfriend because we're going to be talking more about that later. So let's start with Nathie and find out what you've been up to, because you was away last week, and obviously we all missed you. Yeah. The viewers missed you. The listeners missed you. Everyone missed you.
Now I'm back.
So
on track.
You're back. So what have you been up to?
I unboxed the Vive Focus. We finally got it. I did check it out a little bit, and it's very, very strange to walk around without a cable.
Yeah, I bet.
That's so odd. I also played a bunch of games. I mean, I don't have that much to talk about the Vive Focus yet. I know you're all very curious, but I need to test some more, because I did crash it for some reason. After an hour of using it, it crashed. And maybe it's my fault or the device. Who knows? You will find out in that full review I'm working on. But I did play a bunch of games too. I played a Summer Funland. I played a little bit of Rec Room, and that's about it, to be honest. So it's not that much, but...
Sure. So do you think by next week's episode, do you think you might be able to have enough playtime with it to give some sort of like feedback on the show, maybe?
Yeah, I think so. Not like a full... Like, usually when you use a headset, you want to know from people after a month or two what they think, you know? Like, after a week, it's very early, but if you use it for a while, then it's like, oh yeah, that's very nice, and I'm still using it, but yeah, sure, I can do that, yeah.
Nice. Cool. So what about you, Zim? What have you been up to this week?
Back in using the F word a lot, Mike. That's probably the answer. So some of you may have tuned in before to my runs of Subnautica, which is a hardcore survival game. I say hardcore because I'm running it in the mode where you only have one life, and if you die, your game wipes. Kind of like back in the old days with, I think Minecraft had a mode like that once. So anyway, there's an awful bug in Subnautica where your main ship, the big sub you get, you try to board it, and then it disappears, and it appears like 500 meters in that direction, floating in the air, feckin' over and beyond, like a whole bunch of things floating under the water trying to eat you. So honestly, I felt a little bit more terror than I have in probably about a year, or that time in From Other Suns with the alien. I felt pretty feckin' scared then, and I jumped up in my room and all that. But this was just like, this was more anticipating terror. Like, I'm seeing a Reaper Leviathan, which is one of the big, awful creatures in the game, snaking in the water underneath, and I have to swim out this way, like, over it, and knowing that it could just come up and just get me. And it almost did. It even attacked my sub later in the game. But this horrible bug hit me twice, and it was just like, please, guys. And they actually released a patch this week as well. The Subnautica team released a patch addressing a whole bunch of bugs, but not this one.
Because how many hours have you sunk into it now on this single life?
On this single life, we're just past 23 hours. So
see how badly would it suck if you died because of a bug rather than...
Oh, it's gonna happen. Like you're talking to the guy who... I used to play like the original DayZ mod, and I got killed by a toilet after 70 hours up. I tried to walk into an outhouse, and the outhouse door opened, and you just hear... Like, and everything, you just drop all your stuff and you're dead. So I have been killed by a toilet before, Mike, so I wouldn't put it past him.
Impressive.
You wrestled with a toilet, basically. That's what you did.
You should put that on your resume. Got killed by toilet.
Yeah.
So apart from trying to cling on for dear life in Subnautica, have you been playing much else, or was that
all classics, actually. So this week has been Skyrim. I'm about 75 hours into Skyrim at the moment, so I'm just still clocking through that. I still love it. It's like going on a VR vacation every time I'm in it. And there's just, you can literally just wander across the land and find stuff to do. And then there's stuff that's like, a hardcore, like an awesome dungeon with all the detail that you could want. All these different places that are so very different and varied. It's just too big a game. It's just like, it's massive. And I don't know if I'm ever going to actually beat it. It's so big. That one, and then just loads of Assetto Corsa as well. I'm just enjoying playing hardcore. We had our fortnightly multiplayer race yesterday, so that's a blast. Yeah.
Cool. So what about you, Rowdy? What have you been up to, dude?
I've been playing some Tiltbrush.
How is it?
I wonder why.
I made a scene in Tiltbrush to propose to my girlfriend. Now, I'm not an artist by any means, as the ones who have seen the video probably can tell as well, because, the scene is a little bit like, using the tools that I have at the best of my ability to try and make something that at least looked a bit special. I was thinking about like maybe getting someone with more experience in Tiltbrush to do it for me. But then I was like, I should actually do it myself. And so I spent a lot of hours trying to figure out how it works and trying to get it working myself. It was also a lot of frustration because, I had a couple of times that I made a scene and then I realized that I didn't put the scale right in the beginning, so I had to like start over again, stuff like that. But it was a fun experience. It's a cool app actually. You can do a lot of stuff with it, and it's quite impressive actually.
So well, we might as well talk about this now because you proposed to your wife, right? So your girlfriend. So she will be your future wife. But so we might as well talk about this now before we sort of go into it as a first topic, because you sort of started talking about Tiltbrush, so you kind of talked about how you kind of set it up. So how did this come about? Like, tell us more. Like, how long have you been with your girlfriend, and how did this sort of come about, and how did the plan come about?
Yeah, well, I think we've been together now for roughly 6 years. And we've been talking before about marriage, and we've been thinking about getting this thing off. And her mom was really excited about this as well, because in her family it needs to be a little bit more arranged than it is with my parents. But since I spent so much time in VR, that was actually for me the ideal excuse as well to try and build a scene while she thought I was doing VR stuff. I could just do this kind of stuff and try to build something. I had to turn off the preview window, of course, so she wouldn't see anything. Yeah. But yeah, that was actually like a little bit of the idea, and then I started thinking like, what do I want to do? I wanted her basically to put the headset on and then get into like a little bit of like, you know, that like magical atmosphere, like that mystical kind of stuff. So she could like walk around, and then at the end of because I put her like behind a waterfall so she didn't see anything, and then she could like walk around, and then at the end of it there was like a tree, and if she turned around the tree there was a plate there that said like, will you marry me? And then there was a ring there on a little pedestal, and then I would go on my knee, of course, and she would take the headset off, and then as she takes the headset off, she could then get the ring. And she didn't expect it at all because her reaction is brilliant as well. She first says like, ha 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 ha, this is funny.
She's so registered though, Rowdy. I mean, you can so see she's like, is this for real? Is this for realsies? You know, that was the girly reaction. It was good.
Because a funny story after that, since I texted my mom, I sent her a picture of her hand with the ring on, and I told my mom, guess what? And my mom was like, oh, that's a nice ring. Who gave it to her? And her mom was the same, because her mom reacted as saying, who is this? To the text message. And she replied, of course, well, it's me, Mom. Yes, I know, but whose hand is this? Because her mom wasn't sure if it was like her hand or a friend or something. Right. But she was very happy, yeah. Everyone was very happy.
Yeah, it's a really cool video, and I showed my wife earlier on today. It was as we were having lunch together. I said, "Oh, you know, Rowdy proposed to his girlfriend, and he did it in VR." So I showed my wife the video, and she got so emotional. She like cried a little bit. She was like, "Oh, it's really nice. He's like really sweet." I was like, "Yeah."
I would also cry, because I mean, it's the most futuristic engagement ever. I mean, it's just beautiful how tech can just make it look even more magical.
And also, like,
you know?
because that's the funny thing, because I shared this with you guys and like other people that I talk to quite regularly, but I haven't actually seen in real life, and all of those people felt so connected to me. Also, like my subscribers, they were all like so happy and so like jolly, and they really felt like a connection between them. And I really liked that. That was really an amazing thing. I think that, you know, because of technology, you can connect with people that you know, normally don't really connect with or can't connect with. It's a crazy thing.
There's a really interesting spin to this, actually, Rowdy. You've got a scene now. Like, the place you proposed is digitized. Back that up. If you haven't already, make sure that's backed up. Don't leave it on a hard drive as a single file, because you don't want that thing to disappear.
No, it's true.
But like 10 years from now, you could load that back up and, you know, do the same thing. So
it was so funny. Like when my girlfriend was watching it, I think there was like a really funny part where like your girlfriend put on the headset, and she had this like expression on her face, like, why is he making me do this? And it's like my wife has exactly the same expression when I make her do stuff in VR.
I know, because I mean, we're all guys and we all love this kind of technology, but we all have like, you know, girlfriends or friends that like think like, you know, this is just plain stupid. Like, why do you spend so much time in this? And that's also why I put her face in there, because I know that every time I go back into VR, she like can think like, you know, he's doing that thing again with the headset, you know, oh, whatever. And because I actually told her to say like, you know, my subscribers would like to see more of you on the channel. So could you like maybe like do like a short clip, you know, they'll like that. They didn't say that. I mean, they've mentioned it a couple of times, and she was like, oh yeah, do I need to do that? I said, yeah, just 5 minutes. So okay. And she like put that set on, but while she was getting ready, she was like, get this over with, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, congratulations again, man. I think it's awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
We also got some very nice comments here. Very clever and unique proposal. Well done, Rowdy.
Thanks,
beautiful
man.
girlfriend, man. Congrats. I wish I have a guy like that in my life.
I love that comment.
That's
comment.
one way to propose, and a lot of people say it's sweet. So you're a sweet guy, right?
Nice. Yeah, thanks, all.
Congratulations,
really
dude.
Nathie, when are you getting married? I don't have a girlfriend.
Pressure's on, dude. Pressure's on.
I need to do this now too. How can I make this even more futuristic than Rowdy? I will propose an AR, okay?
He's gonna marry
just get the knuckle controllers.
Knuckles.
Yeah, maybe.
So he's got to find his queen first, but he will, I'm sure.
Please,
Right.
please,
so,
Mike. That meme is dead. Please, Mike.
Yeah, it is.
Shame on you.
Shame on me.
you. Yeah.
So, just quickly moving on to stuff that I've been up to this week, just to cover it very quickly. I played Quick Shot. It's a game by Headroom One, which is the same studio that brought you The Tower, which was kind of like a game where you had to stand on an escalator, conveyor belt type thing, and dodge traps to work your way all the way to the tower. I remember Nathie playing that one. But this one is called Quick Shot, and again, it's kind of like a cheap game, but it's fun, very basic but fun. You kind of throwaway experience, that's kind of the way I describe it, but it's kind of got a bit of a Portal vibe to it in terms of the environment and the setting, and also you've kind of got this female robotic voice that kind of instructs you what to do. You have like a selection of guns, and it's like a shooting gallery type game at heart, but also you've got to kind of dodge incoming blocks, like Tetris blocks almost, while shooting at the same time. But although it was very basic, it was a lot of fun, and there was even a part in it where you had access to a lightsaber, which was actually really cool. But then I kind of got drawn into it, and I was looking at the leaderboards, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep on playing. And then I managed to keep on playing until I got number 2 ranked worldwide.
Okay.
So if you want to take me on, then come at me, bros. You can check out my high score. I posted it on my Twitter. But it's very cheap. It's £2.29 in British pounds and $2.99 in US dollars. So very cheap.
What
but I
was
would
the
say
name? What was the name again, Mike?
it's called Quick Shot.
Quick Shot.
And as the
Quick
name
shot.
suggests, it is a quick shot. You'd probably
Quick shot.
blast shoot through it in like 20-30 minutes and probably not play it again. But it's just a little bit of fun, sort of popcorn type VR experience.
Talking about like gallery games or shooting games, like what do you think about the fact that Oculus Home doesn't have that anymore? The gallery app section.
I have to say, like, it was one of those things. I noticed a lot of sort of shovelware titles being sort of shown on the new releases section, and I was like, normally these kind of titles, like you say, are tucked away in the gallery, but I can understand from a developer's point of view, if you're a small indie dev and you put your heart and soul into a game, and then it gets buried in the gallery section. Like, a lot of it is shovelware, but every now and again some little gems are in there, and I think it's probably a right move in some ways by Oculus, but it does kind of lower the bar of quality a little bit when you first open up the application to like new releases and stuff like that. So I can understand it from both sides of the fence, to be honest.
I'm going to say I concur. Beautifully articulated, Mike.
Thanks. But yeah, talking about another sort of little cheap title, Zim recommended in last week's show a game called Mortars VR. Really cheap. It's like 79p in
Ridiculous.
British pounds and 99 cents in USD. And I jumped into it, I bought it, and it was a really fun little game. Like, the mechanics were really cool. I love the way you can pull down the little visor, and you've got all these controls that you need to control, and you need to turn the wheels to turn your little tank to shoot the enemies. And it's kind of like you said, Zim, a bit like Worms in VR, but not quite as funny, but you kind of get that premise. You have to
Worms
sort
in
of,
VR, please.
Yeah, it's kind of cool,
That'd
and I
be
think
awesome.
actually it would be fun to jump in together and play this together.
We so should do a thing. We should so do a 4-player. I mean, it's a quid. The thing I don't understand, why don't they have a 4-pack on sale for the price of 3? Like, they would sell loads and people would just dish it out to their friends. This whole like everyone's got to go and buy it and go through that admin. I mean, the game would cost you £3 or like £4.
Because many of those 4-player titles normally do that on
I
regular
know.
PC games. Yeah.
Yeah, but it is a lot of fun. If you've got like a little team you want to play with, I would imagine you could have a blast playing this. So definitely go and check that one out. It was a good recommendation from Zim. I also checked out The Perfect Sniper. I kind of liked the premise of the game.
These guys
but the first few levels, they just were over very quickly, and they do this thing where you jump into a car in between levels to kind of explain the
You
story.
need to sit in the car
Yeah.
first on a chair and then
it's
proceed.
It just doesn't really work. It ruins the flow of the game, I think, in my opinion. And I think they had a lot of potential there, but they didn't quite execute it that well. So it didn't turn out to be the perfect sniper after all, which was a bit of a shame.
Okay.
But, if you're into sniping experiences, I think the best for me so far, personally, is the Paris level in Killing Floor Incursion. That was really cool, I thought, in my mind. And that's the best sort of VR sniping experience I've had so far.
I was gonna roundtable that question, Mike, because Like, what is the best sniper? The worst sniper experience I've had in VR was Team Fortress 2 when it used to have VR support. That was shite. Complete utter shit. Thankfully, that's dead. All the other characters I missed.
It's strange, actually, that we don't have such a good sniping experience. Like, for a single game
there was a good one.
Brilliant.
There was a good one. And I think Nathie will back me up on this. You're going to have to help me with the name, though. The one by Dean Halls. The cartoony game, Out of Ammo. I think Out of Ammo's sniping experience is bloody awesome. Yeah. It's almost like Saving Private Ryan. Like you're ching, ching, like having to load a clip in and everything. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, what I meant is like a game that focuses only on the sniping experience. Since like, because that will work well in VR.
There's a few games like that in 2D that are, what's it called? There's one that's like very World War II-y and... They do like slow down, so it shows the bullet like going through someone's skull, that kind of stuff. It's really, but I've never really been into those like solo sniper games.
Isn't it just called Sniper?
H3 VR, right? Hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. That's a great game for all kinds of gunplay.
Mm-hmm. I think though what I really wanted was like a Hitman game in VR, like with a sniper rifle. That would have been way cooler. Like, you know, if you're on the edge of a building and it's raining, it's all dark and grainy, and you've got to find the target through a window and take them out, but you have like a certain time limit to do it and the pressure's on. Or you've got to take out multiple targets and the pressure's on. Where that, like, certainly I didn't feel like that in the first few levels of this experience in the Perfect Sniper. It just kind of felt like you take the shot, you've done it. Okay, that's it. The level's ended.
Like the Perfect Sniper, the problem is it has like a repetitive gameplay. It's the same thing all over again. Of course, the story is kind of funny. I do like that part. But it's just the thing you need to do. Yeah, you shoot once, and that's the level. Well, there's so much more going on in that level that you could maybe use, like,
exactly.
Yeah. The chat is saying that the PC game you meant was probably Sniper Elite.
That's it. Yeah, Sniper Elite.
That is it. And
with the X-ray vision. Is that what you're talking about, Zim?
Yeah, it's pretty,
I think so.
It reminds me of Three Kings, actually, when I saw Three Kings.
Yes, you're right.
Ages ago, because they did that where they showed like the bullet puncturing a liver or the lung or whatever.
Yeah, it was Ice Cube in that film, right, or something like that. Yeah.
And also, they're saying that we're all serial killers in the making.
Well, just to punctuate that, I'm just going to say that Mike has now totally made me drooling over. I want a Hitman game where I can grab some piano wire and garrote some old Italian lady to the floor. That's it. I just wanted to say that. You know.
Yeah, to steal her bolognese recipe. That's why you're doing it, Tim.
Well, if you then want to have a Hitman game, then give me a Godfather VR game too.
These are some good ideas hitting the table.
Going to that bakery and then smashing the window, and then it's like,
and you know what?
Give me the money.
Do you know what that Godfather game needs? Dinosaurs. That's what it needs.
Put in dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. We need more dinosaurs in every game.
A dinosaur, like a compound full of dinosaurs protecting your realm.
Oh God,
I like that.
Yeah. So talking about the Sniper Elite very quickly, there was a video. I remember seeing a really funny GIF of like a sniper shot, and it literally just like goes through and takes out a Nazi guy's ball bag, like straight through the scrotum. It's like, wow.
And they explode.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want.
Physics.
I don't need to get that close and personal, Mark, please.
Yeah. Okay, so enough of exploding ball bags. Let's move on to some serious news, and that is the Oculus downtime. You know, if you were an Oculus Rift user, then you will remember the 7th of March, the day that everyone's Rift stopped working.
Yep.
Little prayers to the Rifts. Unfortunately, the Rifts all just stopped working, and that was because of an error on the Oculus software side. And this happened, like I say, on the 7th of March, and for 24 hours, everyone was kind of locked out of their system. Couldn't use their Rifts at all. The internet had a complete freaking meltdown over it. Everyone was talking about it. It was like, you know, trending on
Reddit.
Reddit was going to, There was some actual real funny memes that came out of this, actually. There was a great one with Ready Player One. He was like putting the headset on and he was going into the Oasis, and then it just froze to the Oculus runtime error pop up. Props to whoever made that. Brilliant. That was actually really funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, everyone who tried to boot up the Rift was greeted with this error that said can't reach Oculus runtime service, and that meant you couldn't access Oculus Home and therefore couldn't use your Rift even to play Steam VR titles. So it was a bit of a mess. But Oculus responded pretty quick out the gates, to be honest, and they provided an update on Twitter. And they said, this is an issue with our software certification that we're still actively working on. For security, we use a certificate to ensure that the software you receive actually comes from Oculus, so that kind of makes sense. The certificate has expired, and we're looking into different ways to resolve the issue. We'll update you with the latest info as soon as possible. We recommend you wait until we provide an official fix. Because there was a lot of people giving, like, sort of... like little workarounds, like setting your clock back and stuff like that. But apparently that could cause other issues. Like I actually tweeted that out myself, saying you could set your clock back, but you could access Oculus Home, but you still couldn't access any games. So it didn't quite work out. But then they posted another update and they said, we're still hard working on resolving the certificate issue. We're still in the process of integrating an updated certificate. Unfortunately, pushing the update out to effective users has added some complexity, as expired certificate also blocks our software update path. So it's not like they could just push an update out. They had to implement a patch. And obviously that meant that everyone had to go and download that patch, repair their Oculus software before they could get up and running again, which was a bit of an issue, to be honest. But to be fair to Oculus, you know, as bad as these things are, they were very quick about sort of responding to it. They had the problem resolved within 24 hours. And then even now, as an apology to all their users and devs and everyone that was affected on the platform, they're offering everyone $15 store credit on Oculus.
Who was affected? I don't think it's just a blanket thing. I think it's who was affected. I don't know if that means they're going to only apply it to people who logged in at the time or attempted to log in.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe because if that was blocking the connection, then maybe they don't know who they are. And so it's just all current Oculus users.
I actually haven't. I mean, I haven't used my Oculus during that time frame that the error was shown. Will I, if I now start my Oculus, I've not downloaded the patch either. Will I get that runtime error then as well, even though I haven't used my Oculus?
It's a really good question.
I updated yesterday. I also haven't used it around the errors. Mine did froze, but it could be just my computer. But I did do the fix then, and then it just worked. So I think even if I don't really think one way or another it will work. I don't think you will get the error. That's what I think.
The issue. No, this is the issue. It's a certificate error. So past that date, if someone picks up their Rift 3 months from now for the first time since this issue applied, that will not work. And they'll go look.
Are you serious?
But yeah, is it a certificate that was pushed on, or is it a certificate that has been on there since God knows how long?
Yeah, so it's a certificate that expired, so it just blocks anything being used. So like Zim says,
that certificate was not of a recent update. That was a certificate of
really old, been there for ages.
Yeah.
But dude, serious? Are you serious? 3 months? How are they?
No, this is the permanent. So this is like a permanent issue. This is the thing that I find the most troubling about it. Now, Oculus responded, I think, amazingly. I work
phenomenal.
in continuity for business, and
it should never have happened. Then
it's amazing. Well, yeah, that's why they were like, this is really not good. And the other part was they had no route, because you can't connect to their server to download an update or a patch. They had no route to patch it. You are forced into downloading an executable and running it, which a company never wants to do. They never, because who's going to get that message, right? So that's why I'm thinking that right now it's not an issue, because there's plenty of noise about it. 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, people will pick up their Rift and be like, why is it not fucking working? And they go look for answers.
It was funny because...
What if you go and buy a Rift now?
Yeah, you probably have the same problem. I don't know for definite, but it's likely, because you say...
Good question.
Let's do it. Let's test it for science. I can just get one and see what happens.
That is a big issue then. If you go and buy a Rift now and you plug it in and you spend hours and hours and hours trying to get it working and it's not working, but you haven't heard of that patch.
No, well, I don't think that'll happen, because the reason I say it is, if you remember when you first run Oculus, the runtime, right? The executable off of the... How do you get it? They actually just point you to go to Oculus.com and download the software. The software package that you're downloading will include the fix, so that they won't have.
Why was this not discovered earlier? Then did they give a reason? Is it just pure negligence, or is it?
That's the way it seems, right? Because it was just the certificate that expired within their package, and then it's funny because a lot of people on Reddit.
Old, that problem already exists for.
Yeah. And then people were saying, because they pushed out a new certificate and it had a new date on it, and it was something in 2 years from now, and everyone on Reddit was like, yeah, see you again in 2 years.
But
that's how certificates work that way, right? So for, just to dive a little bit in the technicalities here, say for instance, Rowdy and I wanted to exchange files securely, I can hand him a private key that has a timer on it, and he'll give me one. This is similar in when you're doing digital signatures on software to make sure it's secure and you're not getting kind of nefarious code injected. Like, it just times out. And so if you don't refresh it, if you don't successfully refresh it, it'll just stop working. It's the same way things like Windows licenses and that are protected. So actually,
we got Fluke Roji saying that there won't be a problem with the new Rift as they'll have it updated from the main installer from their
exactly,
website.
yeah.
That's what I was
So
saying.
it's like Sim said. Huh?
But I think, like Zim said, the main issue will be is if like you're a real casual user and you don't use your Rift very often, you haven't used it now, and then you come to fire it up in 3 weeks' time, and then you may not have heard of this issue.
That's true.
I actually
Then again, probably the error you get will be shown all over the Oculus websites, or if you go into the forums there.
Or if you Google it, exactly. And the
easy
thing is,
to
like,
find. Yeah.
I did a little video just to share, like, it was like a 4-minute long video just to say this is what you need to do and show you how to do it. Some people were having like a real hard time with it, like going, like why would you do a video? Because like if people can't read simple instructions, then they shouldn't have a Rift in the first place. And I was like, yeah, but exactly like Zim said, some people in 3 months' time that aren't like really like clued up about this or aren't on Reddit all the time.
That's also
find
true.
out.
And like, how long is Oculus going to put this on their front page? Because it kind of looks bad for them to have this. So they will like put this away soon. Now they have it pinned to the top of their Twitter account, but they will not have it there forever because it kind of looks stupid. You know, you don't want to have it there all the time. So there will be some people like, why doesn't this work? But like the scariest thing I found out about this whole issue was, like, let's say GDC or something else happened around these times, and you're a developer demoing your game for the first time to companies or something very important, then this would have been a disaster.
It was a disaster for some devs. So on Reddit, there were developers who were saying, look, I was coding something that was to be ready for this deadline, and I had a day bricked out of my calendar. Like, that's not a fun experience for somebody who's used to working on tight deadlines like that. So that's that thing. But I have to say, I'm just going to repeat this because it's very rare for a company this large to respond that fast publicly and have what felt like a streamlined, fully quality assurance tested
the way they handled
to
it
download
is,
that executable,
props to them.
update, go through all the normal scenes, and it felt like Rift the whole way. Nothing felt cheap about it. Nothing felt underprepared.
No.
Honestly, I have not seen that good a response from a company in donkey's years.
But
That
on the
was
other
well
side,
done.
like how many times do you have a product that is completely not like usable? So I mean, you had to respond this fast because no one can use it. If it's like a product with a little error, then you can respond later. Let's say it like that. But if the thing doesn't, like, it didn't work for anyone, so they had to respond fast because that's the way you do it. They were saving time, money, and angry customers. So I mean,
this is interesting because Kaz and Cherry say that it's fixed now. We have it logged in during that day, so I didn't have to do anything. Everything works fine. But is that the case then? Because I mean, they still have the old certificate then, right?
Because I didn't log in. Well, the same thing was true for me, Rowdy. So I wasn't on that day at all. In fact, I hadn't, several days earlier, because of hard drive space issues, I hadn't gotten the latest update to the Rift. Now, I don't think that was linked, and that's the whole point. It wasn't linked to like a recent update or anything. And then it was like a day and a half after the patch came out, I tried to load it, and you didn't even get to Oculus Home. It just instantly got that little window. It's amazing how immediate that problem appears once you try to launch in.
But you say Cass and Cherry were able to avoid it because they didn't log in during that period.
It must be something else.
That's what I get from their comment.
It does kind of force you to update at the moment because like yesterday I did the patch and today I was receiving another update for Oculus Home. So it seems like it's now like you got some more updates because of all of this. Maybe could it be that they push like updates on a daily basis now just to get all the people getting that fix? So they're like, hey,
the problem
listen,
is that if it's a certificate, it needs to be patched and it can't be pushed through an update.
Yeah.
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's interesting to hear that there's some conflicting reports there. Like, we're not 100% sure, but either way, like if you're suffering with this problem or you hear of someone having this problem, then you know which way you need to go. Just go straight to the Oculus website. They have a really. Or check out my video, of
Subscribe,
course.
and
just download the patch and apply it, and you'll be back up and running in VR before you know it. So
I think that this was like the spiciest meme of all. This one.
Things that expire. Yeah. Yeah, there were some
Okay.
really funny ones.
What it basically says for audio users, it says things that expire, and then it shows a bread, milk, yogurt, and then Oculus.
Oh, quick question for you guys. Do you know what their logo is officially called?
Is this a little fact with Zim?
It's
Yeah. Back to
Okay.
Zim time.
It's the Oculus Stadium. It's a stadium.
Stadium.
In New York.
Yeah.
Is that in New York? I think it's in New York.
What? No. Well, the stadium would be, like somewhere you go to play footy or whatever.
Oh,
Or
yeah,
baseball
I
or
think
something.
I think Rowdy's talking about there is an actual location
Yeah,
in New
it's
York
the
called
Oculus in
called
New
the
York.
Oculus. Yeah, there is a place
Yeah.
there.
Oh.
I think that's where it was
The
getting
Oculus
confused.
Stadium.
Oh.
But they call that logo the stadium.
Yeah,
The Oculus Stadium.
Yeah, the Oculus
Right.
Stadium logo. So that's what's trademarked.
Interesting.
Interesting, nice little tidbit there, Zim. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
So, moving on from Oculus to Valve, some interesting news from Valve this week. During a presentation for the upcoming Dota 2 themed card game, Artifact, head of Valve, Gabe Newell, stated that Valve is getting back into developing new games. So this is no secret. We've had news from Gabe in the past. Some time ago, he sort of leaked that he was working on 3 VR titles. He was really tight-lipped about the exact details, but said, we're not going to be talking about this today, but he said, the arrow we have in our quiver really is our ability to develop hardware and software simultaneously. Now, Gabe kind of compared this to Nintendo and sort of said in a statement, we've always been a little bit jealous of companies like Nintendo. When Miyamoto is sitting down and thinking about the next version of Zelda or Mario, he's thinking, what is the controller going to look like? What sort of graphics and other capabilities? He can introduce new capabilities like motion input because he controls both of these things. And he can make the hardware look as good as possible because he's designing the software at the same time, and that's really going to take advantage of it. So that is something we've been jealous of, and that's something that you'll see us taking advantage of subsequently. So he's really sort of like teasing there that what we think is going to, what I read into this personally is that they're obviously working on the Knuckles controller and some other hardware, and then what they'll do is when it comes to releasing a software or announcing software, that they're going to bundle them together. So it's going to be like peanut butter and jelly. Together, they're going to make the ultimate combo, but you'll be able to buy them separately as well. So, I think this is a great way to sell a new piece of software, right? Say if you've got Left 4 Dead in VR, for example, you can say, okay, you can play this on whatever hardware you've got, but if you want the best experience, then you need to use the Knuckles controllers because you can do this, 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 and this in this game.
Would they do that? Do you think they would do that? That they would make a game designed for the knuckle controllers, but then also implement options for like regular PC or regular... Because, there's a lot of interactions that you will need to implement that won't be able to be done with a PC, for example.
That's why I say that I think he'll say, you can play it this way on a Rift or a Vive using the normal controllers, but if you want the best experience, you need to use the Knuckles because it offers this.
What I mean, just a regular, because if you say Left 4 Dead, do you think they'll make a VR game only for Left 4 Dead? Or is it going to be a PC game with a Left 4 Dead VR mode?
No, because they've already said that they're working on 3 VR titles. So
they haven't said which ones.
They haven't said which ones. I gave Left. No.
Artifact.
No. Artifact isn't a VR game. Artifact is a card game that's based on Dota 2. It could be in VR, but I don't think it is. For me personally, they've already said what it is. It's a Dota 2 themed card game. Like that's what Artifact is. If that is the VR game, then I'm going to be disappointed because I want Left 4 Dead, I want Half-Life, and I want Portal. That's what I want.
I'm sure
that
that
you want Half-Life? Are you kidding me, Mike?
But they're not going to release any of those 3 titles by not making a PC version.
Nah, but
they can't make
they have
Half-Life 3 and then only VR.
No, but Rowdy, let's be honest.
Why not?
They can. They can. Of course they can. Valve can do everything, but
Valve is serious about VR, and they really don't like necessarily what Oculus are doing with their kind of what they refer to as a walled garden approach, like the kind of Apple approach. Valve have always been like, we want our platform to be very open, and we want this and we want that, and if they really wanted to push VR, that is the way to do it. And if you want people to buy into VR for a game, like one killer app, people will go freaking nuts and lose their mind if you said that Half-Life 3 was only in VR, and you would get tons of new users.
This is what
for the
was
platform.
broadcast before the Vive even landed, though. I mean, that's the whole point behind this. It's actually one of the reasons I bought a Vive. I was like, you know what? What are the chances? And there was rumor mills out there with pictures and everything of Left 4 Dead 3 VR being developed. And we'd had a leak about Left 4 Dead 3 from people who visited the headquarters, and they got in big trouble about it. So I mean, like, they're
even in the lab they found clues for Half-Life, right? In the lab.
Everyone's obsessed by numbers and like little things like I did see like images flashing by of Left 4 Dead in VR. That's what I bought.
It's all about the numbers, Mason. It's all about the numbers.
No, but seriously though, like, you know, Valve is I think they can make a VR game and they can also make PC games. They will not be the same. They will say like, hey, we got a new Left 4 Dead game. They'll have like a standalone Left 4 Dead VR game. But they like who says they can't make both of them? Like, how long is it ago that they announced something, guys? Seriously. So. And they have more teams. They have a VR team, and they have a team that works on other stuff too. So they have enough manpower to make a few games, if it's VR or not VR. But I agree. I mean, Left 4 Dead would be fun. I think that if they really want to score some points with the community, is they have 3 games, but like maybe one of them is like a famous title, and the other 2 are like something totally new. Because I do like the idea of like having a Portal game or Half-Life, but I feel like Valve could also create something, because like Half-Life already existed before VR, you know, and it's the same with those other games. If you can create something new like we had with Lucky Still, where we're like, hey, Lucky, that's now a VR character, for example. You know, it really fits in the whole community. If they can then build up a relationship with everyone from the start with a new story, new characters, stuff like that, then that's the start of a brand new series. You know,
and Valve also does have.
You know what I mean?
Valve also does have like the reputation of releasing games with something else, like for example the Source engine, or like, you know, a piece of hardware. They do have a reputation of trying to like combine those two together. So it does make sense what he's saying from that perspective, that they're developing hardware that will coincide with their software releases. Well, I mean, if there is a company that can do it, then it's Valve.
Yeah, of course. Definitely. So this is a good question, because I really like what Nathie said. He said, so choose one from the existing like IPs and then 2 new ones. So this is the question, right? If you had to choose one of the Valve games from previous times and bring that forward into VR, but you couldn't have any others, what would it be?
Who goes first?
Go on, Nathie.
I'm just thinking what would be the best for like VR in general, not like what I think, you know. I mean, like I don't know, like Portal. We have seen a Portal VR game. I'm not sure if anyone ever played it. Now that's not what I think. Portal is too hard to like.
I don't think it's too hard, Nathie. I think
people will throw
multiplayer
up.
Portal 2 equivalent type game would work very well.
Like
don't forget, we have a
that's
Portal.
The thing that's gonna take a while.
We have a Portal VR game, but there's no portals in that game.
But that's the thing. Like the Portal.
And there's a good reason why they didn't do portals in there.
No, that's right, and that's what I think. Like maybe that's a little bit too much. Left 4 Dead could totally work. Maybe CS:GO could also be something. I'm not sure if that like, you know, I mean, we had Pavlov, and maybe that's like Left 4 Dead. I would say Left 4 Dead. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go with Portal. I would love to see Portal in VR. What about you, Zim?
I'm Left 4 Dead. You know that. Zombies,
Rowdy?
please.
Nobody says Half-Life. I mean, Dota 2. Everyone wants Dota 2. Nah, I'm joking.
There was a Dota 2 experience by Valve.
Oh, you
Half-Life, of course. Half-Life.
Okay.
If I can choose one title, why not the most anticipated game of all times?
Yes, it is, but, right?
Even if they don't release it in VR, I still want Half-Life.
Because what's the rated out of 10? What would you rate your Half-Life experience? And I'm talking if you played the original game, if you played fucking even Blue, whatever that was, that horrible expansion, all the way through, all the expansions that they've done, how would you, if you had to give it a rating out of 10?
No, you can't do it that way, because that's like saying if you would play Doom right now, how would you rate it?
How would I rate Doom?
Yeah.
What, you mean like the whole Doom series from start to finish?
Yeah.
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
Even with Doom
So
VFR?
the first Doom game,
Yeah, I like the
you
Doom
find that a
VFR.
good game.
Oh, okay.
Just tweeted about it.
You
today.
liked it back then. No,
I actually asked
mean,
Bethesda for more. I want more Doom VFR. I like it.
The thing is, like,
Go on, give it a
Half-Life
number. Come on.
changed basically the entire industry.
Yeah, make your point, Rowdy.
Yeah.
Come on,
What?
we're
How?
waiting.
I want you to rate your breakfast out of 10. What was it, Rowdy?
Nope.
Tell me.
Nope. But like from a VR community perspective, like Left 4 Dead was always super fun to play with more people. You know, it's like a 14 thing you can do. So from that perspective, it offers so much more. You can play it with friends, and of course Half-Life, you can also play that with other people. But like I think Half-Life, you guys know, like I'm not sure Valve even confirmed this, but they said like Half-Life, it's not gonna happen anymore. Like that whole hype, like Left 4
Writer's
Dead
gone.
could happen because no one is expecting that. No one is asking.
But you asked me to
that much
choose
for it.
one.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
asked me to
You're
choose
allowed
one.
to
And
say
I mean,
I'm
there's-
not saying that you
I mean,
shouldn't.
I'm always the guy who says like story-driven content,
Yeah, no,
story-driven
that's
content. Out of all of those titles, Portal has a great story as well, but I don't think it will work well for VR. But out of all of those titles, I think the story of Half-Life is freaking brilliant.
And there is
It's
multiplayer.
so well done.
Honestly, if anyone is old enough to remember the level Bounce from Half-Life 1, jumping around with rocket launchers going off, Snarks. Does anyone remember Snarks? There were these little alien things that would chase you around and then like attack you. Bloody awesome multiplayer
But,
learning with that. So there is multiplayer prowess in Half-Life and their
Yeah, there
past.
is.
But
I
I
know
have
what
to
the
be
chat
honest
is doing right now.
that Half-Life, for me, out of everything Valve has done, and they've done lots of good stuff, just like Rockstar, Half-Life is not the zinger. You know, it's like maybe a 6 or a 7.
No.
It's
No,
okay, it's okay,
it's been too long ago. Plus, if they would bring a VR game, and let's say they make only a VR Half-Life game, then it's gonna backfire like crazy because everyone is like, "Hey, where is that Half-Life game?" And then suddenly, "Hey, there's your Half-Life game, but it's only for VR users." And they're like, "Yeah, but wait a second, that's not what we were asking for." So, like, Left 4 Dead is like the underdog, and it's the same for Portal. Like, Half-Life has been hyped up over the freaking moon, and it's just, it's too much. Like, the expectations are way too high for
Way
that
too
one.
high.
And we don't even know it's ever gonna happen anymore. It's like,
But
so
you
long
asked to choose
Yeah.
I know.
one.
So talking about backfiring, I feel like this backfired a little bit. You know, like
I'm
people,
outta
people
here,
getting
you know,
like
that
seriously
guy.
like, yeah, screw
Go
you guys. See you later. Yeah, no.
But I
I'm
do
glad-
agree with Rowdy. I just don't see it happen anytime
Yeah,
soon.
I'm-
But maybe, okay. And now I said this. Now I'm gonna be like, in a year it's gonna be, and then they quote me now. But
Yeah, you're going to be quoted.
Oh,
VR Inside Podcast
Someone in the
says.
chat,
It's got the-
Paradise Decay has a brilliant idea.
Okay.
Why don't we just do Orange Box in VR?
You
Then we
can
have all of
all.
them.
Yeah, the ultimate hack.
But like
Yeah,
to that
This,
point,
this is what I predicted when the Vive didn't even get released. I said, like, what if they just release this headset now with all these games, then everyone is gonna buy this stuff, and then it didn't
Blue
happen.
box.
But I still love the lab. I freaking love that game, and it's giving you
Yeah.
that sense of like, and what Zim said, I was also excited. I was like, oh, Valve is on board. This is gonna be crazy, and they had those videos, and they had like the store, and
Exactly.
everything looked so slick. And then I was playing the lab, was like, oh, I can just meet GLaDOS, and I can go to the Dota shop now. They did make a Dota 2 VR experience, by the way.
But to
You
be
could
honest,
go into
I still
Dota
think
if you wanted to, but
to be honest, I still think they will not make a single one of those 3 titles in VR.
no.
what about?
It's gonna be
hang on,
something
hang on.
new.
They proved it worked.
Only
Give
VR.
give us back Team Fortress 2. Why did you take that away?
Well,
It was
yeah,
working
okay.
so incredibly
We
well.
totally forgot about Team Fortress. We should
Yeah,
be
Team
ashamed.
Fortress
That's
is in
also,
there as
yeah,
well.
okay. Okay, that's
But
true.
what I mean is a standalone version only for VR. Like for example, Left 4 Dead 3 only VR or Half-Life 3 only VR.
That's,
Yeah.
But guys,
It's-
like
anything's gonna
locomotion and
happen.
controls, right? Is this not a problem? Like I imagine Left 4 Dead is not going to be an easy thing to create
no.
for
No,
VR.
but
Like and make
no.
it feel fluid and make it feel awesome and make the roles of humans and zombies feel right. I want Valve to do it. I absolutely do. But I think there are challenges. Team Fortress 2 or 3 would be so easy to do. A VR only Team Fortress and pull people in who were. I mean,
But-
Team Fortress got loads. it was a huge revenue
That's-
for them. It was a cash cow. They should do it.
But and that's
Was that
I
a
mean
big-
that's why I said if they come up with a new game, they can also write a script that makes sense for the game mechanics of it. Because like as you said, like Left 4 Dead as it is real. Because you think about the old games, that doesn't really. So if they could come up with something totally new that has been built from scratch for VR, then you got a successful series going on that will proceed in the future with haptic suits, stuff like that. Then you can
Yeah,
like
new IP.
you know, you can really
I'm with
go with the times. And this is like, oh yeah, first we had a 2D game, and then we like you should start with 3D and then continue with
Guys, we fucked Mike up now. He's like in shell shock.
But Team Fortress would totally like to have that. I mean, I really enjoyed it on my DK1 and my DK2. Then it was gone. I mean, it was kind of clumsy, but being the scout, for example, doing
so
capture the flag, getting chased. Oh my, that was like really, really nice. But the thing is, it needs to be a VR game only. Like the implementation was fun, but you couldn't really like go with the PC players, and that's the thing I'm afraid of. Like Valve has been like waiting so long with a new title that I can't even now I'm like I'm confused. Never mind. I'm gonna get my pillow.
I feel like I kind of like just opened the door to the China shop and just let the bull in, and then I just kind of closed it, and then just
You don't
chaos
put the cat
going
in the
on
milk,
inside.
man.
But I'm glad we're all so passionate about it. That's the main thing. It's the takeaway thing. Let's all hug our pillows, have a little quiet time, have a moment.
Take the Twitch pillow.
Let's move on. Okay. So I'm sorry we got a bit heated there, guys, but it's time to move on. So here we go. The next topic is we're going to be talking about a game called Torn. So we have a new story-driven puzzle adventure game, and this is the new game called Torn. It's from a studio called Aspire, and Aspire, for those of you that don't know about anything about this studio, it's a studio based in Austin, Texas, and they normally sort of day-to-day work is by publishing sort of older sort of franchises over to the Mac system. So you've got like Call of Duty, Civilization, Star Wars, Borderlands, SimCity. They port all those games from PC over to Mac, and that's kind of normally what they get up to. But this is the first time they've developed a game in-house, and they've got some really cool people on board with this game. They've got the stories written by Neil Glancy, who wrote Stranglehold, which is a game, and Susan O'Connor, who also was involved in Tomb Raider and in Bioshock. So I'm sure that will pique Nathie's interest. And also the original orchestra score composed by Gary Scheinman, and he did Bioshock and Middle-earth Shadow of War as well. So it's got some really cool people on board to get involved in this title. Like I said, the name is Torn. And the game is set in 1953 on the brink of a major scientific breakthrough. A renowned scientist called Dr. Lawrence Talbot just mysteriously vanishes. For 64 years, his mansion that he lived in remained hidden, and his laboratory and work was all but forgotten, until obviously you, the protagonist of this game, find the mansion and start to explore the mysteries behind it and uncover some of the secrets about this mysterious vanishing of Dr. Talbot. So it's kind of got some really cool steampunk style vibe about it. A lot of mystery. Looks kind of creepy as well, and got some cool like telekinesis mechanics where you're sort of like controlling objects around and solving puzzles. So it looks kind of nice. I'm pretty excited about this one. I don't know if you guys have seen this already
So
or
Mike, you
seen this before.
buying a PlayStation?
No, because this game will also be available on the Vive and the Rift alongside PSVR.
Damn.
The thing I like about this is that they seem to be focusing on the right things with VR. Like a lot of the games that I've been playing recently, they've been focusing, in my opinion, a little bit on the wrong things, like the shooting mechanics that everyone has already done so many times. But by focusing on like audio and story content and like the building of the scene and really like that, creating that feeling of immersion, I think that's a really good way forward as well. Like focusing on those things instead of like trying to bring the core concepts of PC gameplay, like regular PC gameplay, trying to bring that to VR, but trying to make something new, like, you know, telling a story in that way. I think that's a really, really good way forward. And I'm really happy to hear that they actually hired people that know how to write a decent story to get that vibe as well, because that's so important in games like this where you need to explore and try to figure out what the puzzles are. Yeah, nice.
And when I watched the trailer, obviously we haven't like played the audio for you guys, listeners and viewers. But the voice acting was actually pretty impressive, I thought. The voice of Dr. Talbot is the kind of floating little sort of light, and he's telling you what happened to him and his family and how to sort of help him and uncover the mysteries of the mansion. So
we got
people
in the chat asking if the price is already known.
No, we don't know the price, but it's due for release in spring. So I'd imagine.
Can we buy it with our discount code, Mike?
You can, if you're affected, obviously, by the Oculus outage,
that's true.
And you keep that money in your wallet, then you could, of course, use it to buy this game called Torn.
That's a tip.
Yeah,
but I agree with Rowdy. There is so much like to innovate in those spaces where shooter mechanics. We have seen that. I also think there's a lot to innovate in terms of like puzzles. There's so many things you can do. So yeah, this could be that one that pushes like the VR like puzzler genre forward too. The only thing I'm afraid of that I'm not a big fan of is it looks like a standing experience. I don't know,
right.
But I do see the camera moving. I do see the walking too. But with trailers you never know. So it's kind of like, what is this?
It is PlayStation
like
as well. Don't forget it.
Yeah.
It's on PlayStation as well, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like Wilson's Heart, where you go to the next space, you teleport, and everything looks very polished. But it looks like a polished game to me that will maybe not take. But I don't care if the game is short, if it's polished, and it's the same with Moss. Like short game, looks very nice, works, everything is smooth, nothing funny going on. It's short, but it's long enough to say like, wow, okay, this was worth the money. And the playtime. I have the feeling that it's the same with like Torn, but we'll see. I like BioShock, so.
But even if it's like 6 to 10 hours or something, I mean, it looks pretty good to me. When I first saw the trailer, I was thinking this is like the love child of Static and the Invisible Hours. It felt like those two universes kind of got merged. And to be honest, I would be wholly welcoming of that combination because I think the assets, as you said, Mike, the voice and the vocals that they had, plus the visuals, looks good. It looks good, and I'm like what Rowdy said. I think when you've got the right mechanics kind of combining, and you've got some semblance of a story, that's enough to carry you. And I don't mind if it's a relatively shortish experience or medium length, provided it's not 400 hours. Then I'll have a good time.
But also like if you like Mike just told us the story of this game, like I'm instantly like getting curious or hooked, like that feeling of opening a gate with like an old mansion. That's like I've never done that in VR before, where I go into like an old place and it's like, hey, what is this? Can I go in there? And and then
Resident
they're like,
Evil.
Whoa, Resident Evil 7. Come on, Resident Evil 7. You do exactly that.
No, but this is different.
That's
this
horror.
is like a crazy.
You don't want to
I know with traps and things like that. I would rather enter this one than the Resident Evil one.
True.
But so I am very curious about this one, and it sounds like something refreshing to me. So
definitely, that's what I thought when I saw the trailer.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because you said something, Nathie, about controls, and it kind of made me think of Apex Construct because it's a game that's being developed for all three platforms. Do you think that maybe PSVR is kind of maybe holding the other two back because of the control methods, because it might be too difficult to sort of change it drastically for the other two platforms? Is that kind of what you experienced with Apex Construct?
I did like locomotion wise I did, because but they also made a game that was for teleportation only, and then they later on implemented walking locomotion. I don't think that was like the PlayStation VR's fault. But like if it's like specifically made for the PlayStation VR and for its front facing, then that might be an issue.
Definitely.
But it will be like
so. Also no thumbsticks or whatever.
It will be less playful than when you develop it for the PC. But that's the thing. If you make it for PlayStation, you of course start with the PlayStation. You don't want to go for. That's what Apex Construct did. They made a mistake. They went for a 360 play space and everything worked on PC. But then you played with the PlayStation VR, and then it doesn't work because you need to turn around. So. Yeah, I don't know, but it does feel like these people know what they are doing, so we'll see.
Well, Apex Construct, whilst on the subject, is coming out on PC soon, right? So we should know how it performs compared to the PSVR version fairly soon to let you guys know. But yeah, that is Torn, which is an interesting game, like I say,
exciting.
from Aspire Studios. So moving on from Torn to Ready Player One, and I know we probably mentioned this like almost every episode, but it is obviously a big deal for those in the VR industry. Yeah. And last episode we were talking about HTC's partnership with Ready Player One and how they're going to be showing some cool stuff at South by Southwest. But we were a little bit disappointed that stuff was going to be at the show and we weren't going to experience any of this stuff from home. But in the meantime, HTC did announce the fact that they're working with studios to bring 8 Ready Player One experiences and games to home users, which is kind of cool. But is it? So let's find out, because these are the experiences and I'll read them out by their names and their sort of little descriptions. And you can let me know what you think of these just by the description alone.
Are you gonna read one and we're gonna say yay or
yeah? Let's
no?
do that.
Let's do that. Yay or nay? So number 1, Ready Player One, the Avatar creator. People come to the Oasis for all the things they can do, but they stay for all the things that they can be. With millions of permutations, the Avatar creator lets you create your own highly detailed Oasis persona. Share your custom avatar with friends and fellow Gunters. What do we think of that?
Nay,
Avatar.
I don't have the patience for that.
I'm going to say yay, only because, as a self-admission, I often spend too much time in a character creator. No. As a standalone thing, it's probably sucky, but I'm going to say yay against the curve.
Okay.
No.
So keep the mood positive.
Yeah, thanks, Sim. Right, next up, number 2 is called Battle for the Oasis. I do like the name, but it's made by Steel Wool Studios. They say, help save the Oasis by defeating waves of IOI 6s. Advance through the trenches of Planet Doom towards the snowy plains that surround Anorex Castle. With an arsenal only possible in the Oasis, you must stop IOI from gaining control.
No.
I'm sorry. Okay, wait. Before I do this, I'm sorry, Steelwool Studios. I love Bounce VR, but waves. Come on, seriously. Sorry.
No waves. We don't want waves.
The second they said waves. No.
Waves. Yeah, I was like waves.
Dinosaurs.
Wave-based.
Unless dinosaurs.
Downvoted is what we had for the audio listeners.
Downvote.
So, yeah, sorry, this is going to really suck for the audio listeners. Nay.
I'm just so sure it's gonna be just you standing on one spot and you can't move and you just shoot, and then like after 10 minutes it's like, okay, that was it. Next. That's how it feels like. But we'll see.
Okay.
Unless there's dinosaurs.
Yeah. Okay, that's true. Yeah. Okay, then I would do a thumbs up.
On board. Yeah. Right. Number 3, Rise of the Gunters. Another cool name. Uh-huh. This is made by Drifter Entertainment as well, by the way. And they're the people that made Gunheart. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, but...
So bear that in mind.
Gunheart is cool.
There's a new one as well coming out, right?
Yeah.
By Drifter?
Gunheart 2, isn't it?
Really?
That's what I heard this
2?
week.
Ooh.
Rumors
or
like confirmation.
Zim leaked it.
Or did you read it on Reupload VR?
Might have been.
Okay. Well, that explains a lot then.
Okay.
I sincerely just don't remember.
Okay. So, made by Gunheart, may or may not have made Gunheart 2. Drifter Entertainment. Right. So, fight against a nearly invincible army of highly trained IOI 6s. Proceed with caution as you defeat 6s, collect their coins, find power-ups, and survive a merciless onslaught of hyper-explosive kinetic action for as long as it takes. The Oasis is yours. Take it back. Battle the IOI yourself or with 2 fellow Gunters. So, co-op.
Yay. I'm going to say yay.
From me.
I'm going to say yay.
I'm saying yay only on the basis of their past experience. They're a proven studio who can do multiplayer games. They'll do something short and curt and fun. That's probably off-piece.
It sounds like it might still be waves.
I approve because I haven't seen many movie experiences that are co-op, VR ones. Plus, there was no wave in the text, so I.
Yeah. So
we got a yay.
Multiplayer is it's a 4 yays.
That's 4 yays.
Yeah, well.
So like you say, because of the studio, they made Gunheart. They did a pretty good job with that game. I thought it was pretty cool. And like you say, because it's a co-op experience, it's probably going to be a bit more fun. Yeah. Even if the gameplay is a little bit lame, it's always fun doing something with other people. So I think that's probably the most exciting one so far.
I gotta say, Chad is playing along here, and it's awesome to watch. Okay,
Yeah.
so
It is?
there are loads of thumbs coming up. It's good.
Okay, cool. Next up is Gauntlet. So it's not exactly a Ready Player One game, but it's kind of going through games of that era. So Ready Player One is all based around the 80s. So the next 3 titles are kind of 80s based games that were popular in that time. So reimaginations of classic 80s games. So Gauntlet is one of them, made by Directive Games, that also made a game called Super Kaiju. I don't know if you've heard of that game.
Yeah.
So,
damn.
okay, you
Kaiju,
know it well.
No,
Wow.
that's slightly different. There's Kaiju on it, but it's Kaiju Panic.
Had Kaiju in the title.
Yeah.
So this one, you navigate through a seemingly endless dungeon while the undead seek to try and destroy you. Collecting gold, you will improve your score, and eating food will restore your health, but only your bow skills will ensure that you make it out alive.
It's fucking Dreadhalls right there. I'm upvoting.
I'm kind of in the middle about this one.
You can't go middle.
Yeah,
it's yay or
me
nay,
too,
Mike.
because
you're not allowed to go
because
middle.
I don't really like
I guess an A
horror.
from me then.
Yeah, same here. Same
Because,
here.
I still say yay.
For
Was that
me,
too
it's
much?
like-
Seemingly endless concerns me, because that just sounds like one of these throwaway titles, like a
Procedural
endless runner.
generated.
Yeah.
It just gives me that. It reminds me of like In Death for some reason, where it's
Yeah,
bow
exactly.
only, and it's like But I mean, they're movie VR experiences, so the
Yeah,
expectations
I
should
mean,
be
I
too
think the
high,
visuals
but
are going to be nice then, right?
I hope so. I
it
mean,
must
it's-
be.
it must
and
be a
if
dark
it's about
thing, right?
Ready
So-
Player One, although dungeons.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It could be
It
Well,
was
it
lame.
could
split.
be-
That was our first split, wasn't it? Did you upvote
Yeah.
that, Rowdy? Yeah.
I was down.
Yeah, I upvoted it, but
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of horror repetitive experiences.
It could be.
So
It could be like a Pac-Man dungeon with just gray walls and no shadows and no.
I'd still
you know,
take
I mean, we,
I'd
we need
still
to
take
think.
it.
We need to
You
think
still
about
take
the
it.
concept of Ready Player One, right? It needs to have something to do with Ready Player One. So
Let
it
me
needs
bring
to
my
have
custom
something
avatar from the
interesting.
first title in, and then I'm super happy.
But this is the thing, like, there's no real like tie to Ready Player One other than that Gauntlet and these other couple of games were made in the 80s. You know.
Yeah,
like,
Gauntlet
it's
was an
kind of-
80s game.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but that's the only tie really to it. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
How?
So-
It's hard to imagine what this is going to be like, to be honest.
I know.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, like, we don't have any more information than this. And this was given to all the press outlets, this exact speech of each game. And they didn't show any
Brilliant.
trailers, like some really rubbish screenshots, so it doesn't give you an impression of what the game is like.
But yesterday they had like a Ready Player One party in the US, and were there any of those games? No, I don't think. Or
The avatar customization one was there.
I will search up. I will show you an avatar soon. Just proceed. I got one here from someone, so it's
Okay.
kind of funny.
Okay, so the next one, well, actually, in fact, the next 2 are made by the same studio, and that is Two Bears Studio, and I think they're actually a Vive studio, like one of these Vive studios that they partnered up with. The first game is Smash, and it says, enhance your hand and eye coordination in this nod to Oasis creator James Halliday's favourite arcade game. So it's kind of one of those... the way I sort of saw the screenshot, I'll try and describe it, is that you've got a corridor with blocks in, and you're throwing stuff down it to kind of hit those blocks.
It's Breakout.
Um,
It's Breakout
so,
in
yeah.
VR, you know?
Yeah.
Proton Pulse I
understood.
played was my first ever DK2 demo, and that was like that.
Yeah.
But no.
And the next one actually sounds very
still-
similar as well.
Wait, because I'm still hoping that there's going to be at least one experience that's going to allow you to like explore a little bit of the Oasis.
Well,
yeah.
there is one coming up. There is one coming up. So,
Can I show the
next
avatar,
one-
by the way?
Yeah, go for it, go for
Yeah,
it, go for
well,
Hang on.
don't get scared. Beware. Prepare your anus. Here we go.
it.
I changed my phone.
Whoa. Oh my word.
This is
So,
awesome.
okay.
That is
so
fully
just,
custom.
Yeah, I
just to
changed my vote.
describe it to the audio listeners, this is a really bad looking avatar.
She looks
it's
like she's got
a
cat no, goat eyes. They're definitely goat eyes because they are
tattoo
rectangular.
on the face, green hair,
Purple lips.
looks like a Funko Pop because the head is so big, and
head is
like a
so
tiny
big, yeah.
body. Yeah, it looks bad.
It looks
So-
like a painted one, not like really like a something.
Yeah, it
that-
doesn't look like 3D.
No, it just. Well, it is 3D, but it's kind of
Yes.
hard to.
So if we're going back to number 1, which obviously is the avatar creator, how do we think about it now? Nay,
yeah, nay. It's a four
How does
Nay.
the chat think? Yay or nay?
nay. Right, okay.
If you're gonna do
So,
an avatar creator, do it right. That's all.
Yeah,
I'm
do it
saying.
right.
Yeah.
So the next game is Fracture, again by Two Bears Studio. But again, it sounds very similar to
that's-
Smash. And it's like it says, heighten your spatial awareness and reflexes in this throwback to 80s brick smasher games reimagined in VR. So it sounds very similar to Smash. Fracture and Smash sound like the same game.
You know what it sounds like, Mike? It sounds like they like sat down at the round table. They're like, I want to make this game. No, I want to make that game. Okay, we can't decide. So you guys go make Smash, and you guys go make Fracture, and then we'll just put them out and see how people like them.
Yeah, so I'm a bit concerned about those ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would have to give it a thumbs down. Sorry.
Yeah, thumbs
I
down.
don't know.
Nay. So next up, number 7. This is H's Garage by Sanzar. They made Second Life. We've talked about this before. It is actually quite cool. You can walk around H's Garage, which is an iconic character in the book and the movie, and there's some really cool vehicles in there from the 80s that you can try and work out what they are. So me and Nathie have tried this one. I don't know if you other two guys have tried this one.
Not yet. No.
But I would give it a yay.
Yeah, this is the only one that is actually like sound a little bit more enticing. Like I don't get that. Why don't you just make 8 of those experiences, just in different kind of scenes?
Different
like
scenes,
have
exactly.
H's Garage and like have like the freaking like things that you see in the movie that you can like. It doesn't need to be that difficult, you know. You don't need to interact with so much, but let us experience that kind of
Like
stuff.
they could have
frustrates me.
I want for Ready Player One. I want them to do what they did for the Animatrix. I want them to come out with all these, let the indie studios do their thing and come out in different art styles than that. But like you described, Rowdy, you take this scene, you take that chapter, you take that bit, you know, and then give us something that's relatively consistent at the spine of it, but it's actually these experiences that you get that packaged and even with the price tag on it. I'd be interested in.
What they should do is, I don't know if you remember this scene in Super Hot, but there was a scene when you kind of go into the real world and you've kind of got the computers around you.
Yeah.
So that's what they need to do. You're in like Wade's trailer, like his little motorhome, like where he's converted into his little man cave, and then you put on the VR headset and then you go into the Oasis. So it's like Inception.
like two scenes where you can just look around, maybe explore a bit, and like that. That's what they could have done. Like one big VR experience, just spend all the budget on that. And then maybe also say to all the devs that have, because of this, people are going to be more curious about VR, I hope. And they could have done things like, hey, let's say we ask the guys from Arizona Sunshine, Cloudhead games with like the gallery and job simulator to put something in there in the game. And then just give everyone like, hey, these are the games you can play now, find that. Or there's, you know, then...
Seeding.
Instead of just going
you
for
put
the
me onto
simple...
something, Nathie, which is, and I'll ask the question because I think you've played this as well. Take Batman Arkham VR and do that for Ready Player One. Because what I want, being a guy who owns a bunch of HMDs, is I want to, in VR, see his HMD. Having seen that in the trailer, that's the number one sexiest thing about the whole film for me right now, is I just want to see the VR HMD up close and kind of have a spin with it.
Like in the end, what Mike said, in the short term, that could have worked, you know? Or they could have made, you could like grab Parzival, and then he's like tiny, and then there's an island, you know? And then at the end you scream, Ready Player One! And then, you know, and you
like Jumanji.
Yeah. No, like, that's something else, man. This but that, like, it's the same idea. You know, if you...
Or dinosaurs. Just add dinosaurs.
You can throw little DeLoreans onto his head, and, you know,
One word of caution, though. We, of course, have not tried or seen any of these games or experiences. So, I mean, for all we know, they're bloody amazing. Although the first impressions are a little bit
meager.
I think.
Plus, we also have some experience with the titles some developers made. Now, that doesn't say anything because their next one could be amazing. But we'll see. Like, in the end, they are, like, most of them are movie VR experiences. So
and this is mainly based on our excitement, right? Yay or nay is kind of based on whether we're excited to check it out or we're not so excited to check it out. So, number 8, the final one, is that... Have I saved the best for last?
Oh, drum roll.
Find out. The Distracted Globe Music Experience by The Wave VR. Step inside the fantastical space inspired by the Distracted Globe Zero Gravity Dance Club scene from Ready Player One. The Wave VR experience will let anyone immerse themselves into the dance club scene with specifically designed avatars, 80s visuals and music, plus the ability to fly to the music in zero gravity. So yeah, what do you think of that one?
Like it. Ken Bye just tweeted about it. He did
Original
it.
concept.
He just did it.
Original concept.
Okay, let me just drop this bombshell on you though. Only available in the US.
No!
Hey!
That's so. That's so
Why?
silly. That's
Licensing
so
on the music. That's why.
Yeah, probably.
What? Licensing music?
Probably, yeah. It's probably like
that's so stupid.
Can we
That's-
can we just grab some lawyers and just line them up against the wall, and then I just want to take my frustration out. Pots and pans is fine. Whatever weapon you can grab. Just please,
They could have fixed the license thing. They're just like too much money or too much effort, whatever.
Yeah, you lawyers, you ruin everything. So,
Blame it on them.
So yeah, unfortunately, the way VR, even if you try and download it, like there is a link on their website to download it from Steam. If you click on that link, it'll just say it's not available in your country if you're outside of the US, which is a real shame because this is probably one of the ones I was more excited about on the list. I quite like the Drifter one, that one, but I also really like the sound of this one because if you've read the book and you're excited about the movie and you've seen the clip in the trailer of the Distracted Globe, which is like the zero gravity nightclub, it is so freaking awesome, and in the book it is such a memorable scene. So it would have been really cool to experience that with other people and listen to 80s music and kind of go a bit crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Quick tech tip. Quick tech tip. Linus would kill me.
Quick tech tip.
You can VPN and do it that way. There is a way to there's a way to do it.
But I mean, you need to be already a little bit tech savvy to know how to do that properly. No. I mean, of course, we know how to do that, but there's a lot of people that going to watch the movie or have a headset that won't know how to do that.
Well, I would be wary about that.
They should roll this out. Really, they should.
Although you probably can do this with a VPN, I know that Steam get particularly funny about this kind of stuff.
You can Steam VPN?
What I wouldn't want to do is upset Steam to the point where they block my account for whatever reason.
Please.
Maybe not do that.
Please don't do it. Have mercy.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point, actually.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to mess with them. I love Gabe, but I wouldn't mess with him. Put it that way.
Talking about Ready Player One, what do you guys think of my hoodie? My cool, you like it?
That merch.
Yeah, look at the back. This is very cool. Look at this.
Buy that merch.
High five. High five.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. I like that.
Well, only if you're in the US, you can do a high five. Sorry. You can only do a high five if you're in the US.
Well, what did you guys think of those posters that they launched? Because I thought initially I looked at them and I was like, yeah, pretty cool, but I started scrolling through and I'm like,
Mike is posting them on his Twitter all the time, so I mean, he's using the propaganda
one every day.
now. Yeah.
One every day.
Yeah.
I'm drip feeding you.
You named it. You have to like it. I mean, if you come out of Ready Player
that's true.
One,
He can't hate on it.
Sucks.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that.
So basically, his opinion is rigged because he's called the racist.
Totally.
He was waiting for this moment when the movie was coming out to promote his name and the movie and everything. It's all rigged.
That is true. So take my opinion on Ready Player One with a pinch of salt, a big one. But talking about the movie, I have actually booked my cinema tickets for the 28th. Ooh. So I managed to get tickets before it actually is officially released. So I'll be going on the 28th with my wife, and I'm seeing it in 3D, and then I'm going to do a video straight afterwards talking about my thoughts. So that'll be interesting.
Is that IMAX or just 3D?
Just local theater, 3D. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Just make sure that your video is spoiler free.
Yeah, well, no, it won't be spoiler free. It'll be detailing all the nuggets from the book and comparing it to the movie. So you'll have to watch the movie first. But I'll, of course, give you a big spoiler warning at the beginning. So just be aware of that.
Okay.
So that is obviously the 8 VR experiences for Ready Player One. Like I said, I'll just quickly cover them again. You've got the Avatar Creator, not so hot on that. Battle for the Oasis, Wave Shooter, not so hot on that. Rise of the Gunters from Drifter Entertainment, sounds kind of interesting. Gauntlet, Smash, Fracture, not so great. H's Garage, very cool. You can check that one out now for free. Just download Sanzar. You can jump into that, check that out. And
with
the Distracted. Yep. Yeah, of course. It's multiplayer as well. The Distracted Globe sounds really awesome, but unfortunately it's region locked to US, so it gets a downvote from me. So that is that. That is the Ready Player One experiences in partnership with HTC. So, that is our week's show. I'll just quickly go over a summary of the whole show. So we've talked about... Go on.
We got people saying that apparently Mike's pillow is making an appearance in the film.
Oh.
It's the egg. This is the egg. This is the egg that everyone looks for in the film. It's actually confirmed. Hashtag spoiler. When Parzival reaches the mic pillow, then he saves the Oasis. That is the true story.
But like seriously though, if I would enter the Oasis and you would just sit on a bench or anything, I would really think
There is 3.
I would really think Mike was an egg. I would just try to touch it, and it's like, oh, wait a second, it's a person, you know?
It's a person or an egg.
But it would be nice to
Nice,
like
smooth
have
head.
some like references in there to any like VR games, or let's say that you see like a job bot running around, you know, or
Yeah, that would be
that would
awesome.
be crazy.
We got Eric Hartley says that the Wave VR can be downloaded from SteamDB outside the US.
Steam
What's
DB.
SteamDB?
Steam database?
SteamDB.
We'll have to look that up.
I think that's
the
the
place.
place.
You want me to roll the thing about Jurassic Park?
No, we'll save that one for next episode.
Okay.
Yeah. So just to summarise, unless you've got any other questions, we spoke about Rowdy proposing to his girlfriend in VR, which was super sweet and adorable. Bless your little heart, Rowdy. We talked about the Oculus runtime error, which was bad, but Oculus turned it around and they sorted it all out, so that's kind of good. Valve teasing about upcoming games and hardware opened a real can of worms there with the team. Everyone went a bit crazy for about 10 minutes, but it's because we're super excited about the potential that Valve can bring to VR. A creepy steampunk game called Torn, which does look super interesting. That'll be coming out in the spring. And then obviously the 8 Ready Player One experiences in partnership with HTC. So thanks again for being part of the show. I love all the fact that you guys got involved with the yays and nays with the Ready Player One VR experiences. I love it when you guys interact with the chat. It's super cool to see you guys going crazy. And we're just happy that you come along and enjoy the show. So until next week's episode, we will see you then. Have a good week and see you next weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.